We just saw him in the report. Now he joins us in the studio, Joachim Scheide, economic analyst from the Kiel Institute for the World Economy. Welcome.
Welcome.
Why, can you tell us, first of all, are the forecasts so unlikely to be right?
Well, it's certainly difficult to hit the correct number. What we try to do is to predict a certain pattern. Are we in an upturn? Are we in a boom? Or are we seeing a downturn or a recession? If we get that right, I think our job is already almost done.
And you guys have all the economic data right at your fingertips and you can see the trends developing. Why is it so difficult?
Well, we just cannot extrapolate the current trend. I mean, we see, for example, right now that the sentiment indicators are going downhill, and we cannot say, well, they're going to go downhill also next year. There will be some kind of turnaround, and it's difficult to hit the correct quarter when that happens. But we make the forecast on certain assumptions. And one assumption is, for example, that the euro crisis doesn't escalate again. And if this does not happen, our forecast may be approximately right.
We've also been through so many economic crises and financial crises, especially more recently, and we're still going through one now. Isn't it just a case of history repeating itself?
In a sense, yes, but we have not really seen a crisis like this in the past decades. We've seen shorter crises, short recessions, and they were over in 1 or 2 years. But this is different. This is a more lingering crisis, which will be with us, for example, probably a couple more years. And therefore, it's very difficult to make predictions right now.
Would I be right in saying that forecasters don't want to get people's hopes up too high, that they'd rather be a little pessimistic?
No, we don't have this bias. I mean, we want to be correct on average, and usually we are correct on average.
You see that all the time, though, on equity markets. I mean, investors are really happy when they hear that their company has managed to beat forecasts.
Yeah, it's good for those companies, and you usually only hear them, but you don't hear those who did not make up very well. So,
and on a political level as well, I suppose you could say that applies to countries' economic growth.
Yeah, I mean, it's not our job to say, well, we want maximum growth and that makes us happy. This is not the idea. We want to get the correct growth on average, and we have a certain idea what the average growth rate will be in the medium term and whether we will deviate it from it either upwards or downwards.
Just briefly, good for investors when we talk about beating forecasts. What happens to business, though? What happens? Is it lost business then when growth does double instead of halve?
No, of course, then companies will see they made a mistake, they didn't invest enough or didn't raise production enough as they could have done. But these mistakes are part of our everyday lives. We make mistakes all over. I mean, we make mistakes on stock markets every day. So this is natural, and this is what we have to deal with in our economy.
Lastly, what about Greece? Is that a big mistake there? The German finance minister, Joachim Scheide, has said that Greece is not going to go bankrupt. What do you think?
Well, I think Greece should go bankrupt and they need a haircut because that's better for the economy. Of course, Mr. Schäuble cannot say that because otherwise financial markets would probably go wild right now.
Joachim Scheide, thank you very much for joining us.
Okay, thank you.